is Laura, and I am the maker, designer, creator behind Back Porch Fiber Co. You can find me on Instagram full of inspiration and pattern ideas, tutorials, what I'm working on. You can find me on Instagram at Back Porch Fiber Co. You can email me if you need to go get a hold of me at backporchfiberco@gmail.com. And you can also find my shop where I sell handcrafted stitch markers and knitting accessories. I also do sell some non-handcrafted items such as scissors and darning needles and a whole bunch of different things in there. My shop is specially curated with all of my favorite things that I use on a daily basis. I don't think I sell anything in there that I don't personally love and use myself. So you can check me out on Etsy. I am Back Porch Fiber Co. on Etsy as well. So this is the last WIPs episode. January, if this is the first time that you're tuning into this, for the whole month of January, I decided to work down my WIPs. I am not one of those knitters who love to just have a ton of projects on the needles. It kind of stresses me out, honestly. And I'm a little bit like that with my stash as well. If my stash grows too big, it stresses me out because I feel like I've just spent all of this money and if I can't use it or I'm not going to use it, I just feel so wasteful. And like, I know that like, that's not an issue for some people, no judgment, because I don't care. That's just how I personally work. So anyways, it has been stressful for me to have all of these projects going on at the same time. And then I just had this huge wave of guilt if I cast on something new, because it's just silly. I have all of these projects just waiting to be finished and then I can use them and wear them and etc. So it's super stressful for me. So I decided in January not to cast on anything and just work down my WIPs. I think I started out with 11. Yeah, I started out showing in the very first episode 11 WIPs that I had on my needles. But since then, I have found 3 other ones hiding out in different places. So that was a total of 14 WIPs. And that is not including 2 other blankets, like scrappy blankets that I just have on the needles constantly. It's not something that I worry about. It's something that I just will add scraps onto as I see fit. But with so many other projects going on, I would never make time for those scrappy projects. So it was definitely time to get some of these WIPs off the needles. My final count. So from 11 to 14, I have gotten off my needles in one way or another, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. 9 projects. 9 projects. That was mostly in January, a couple the first few days of February, but mostly in January. And it was just staying focused and not casting on anything new. Now, I was very tempted many times to cast on something new, but there is so much satisfaction right now that I have that I can cast on something with 0 guilt. I will still finish the last 5 projects that I have, but I have 0 guilt for casting on something new. So in this episode, I'm going to show you a recap of all of the projects that I finished, and I'm gonna share with you guys plans that I have for 2 more projects. Now, one of these projects that I have started, or that was a WIP, actually 2 of them, I'm really not upset that they're not done. One, I just started in November. It's a sweater, and with Vlogmas and everything, like I was not expecting to get that one done. And it's one that I really wanted to work on, but I didn't. Didn't as much because I knew that like the interest was still there and it wasn't hard to work on. So with all of that said, I'm gonna get started on showing you guys my WIPs. Okay, first, let's just share what I have in my mug here. Okay, super cute, little llama mug. And it tastes like coffee, but it is not coffee. So I've recently found this Tacchino. It is like a chicory, dandelion, organic, herbal roast, kind of like coffee. It does have coffee flavoring in there, but I definitely would like to drink less coffee. I mean, that's just, I feel like my body kind of relies on it. So I'd love to get to a point where I am not that way. So this is super yummy, and I totally recommend it if you're trying to either kick the caffeine habit, the coffee habit, or if maybe you just want a second cup, but not the caffeine, you know, for the day or whatever. But it is really good, and you can ice it, you can heat it up, you treat it just like coffee grounds, but you actually use a lot less. But super yummy, cannot recommend enough. Just, I'm not a sponsor for these people at all. It's just something that I found that I thought you guys might find handy too. All right, let's get started. I have my pile right here. Super exciting. I'm so happy to share this with you guys. So whip number 1, and I added it to my whip pile, even though it was super simple, super quick to finish, because it was something that was taking up headspace. It was super daunting to me to have to figure out how to do this, but I did. So this blanket right here, I'm not even gonna take it off, but this blanket had a hole in it. If you've been following me along with my Vlogmas or the last few episodes, you will know that somehow some little carpet beetles, they're these little tiny, like pinhead size little guys. They completely look harmless. You're like, oh, just, you know, smash it with your finger, move on kind of thing. We've seen them on and off, just kind of like up on the wall or whatever. We're like, oh, what is that? You know, and we just take care of it. It's not a big deal. But I started finding them in my yarn and finding their little like their little skins in my yarn, and they eat through fibers. So they ate through this blanket. It was on my couch. It's not something that I put on the carpet at all, ever. It was sitting on the back of my couch, but they will eat upholstery fibers, any kind of natural fibers, they will eat through. We are taking care of the problem. It's not 100% gone, but we are taking care of the problem. Apparently vinegar gets rid of them, and they just kind of hide out in places like behind furniture and whatnot. So we are taking out furniture more often, vacuuming more often, spraying with the vinegar, etc., etc. So if you have a carpet beetle problem, or maybe you don't even know that you do, but you have little creatures eating your yarn, vinegar is harmless to fibers, and like we can even dye yarn with vinegar. So I spray it on my carpet, spray it on my knits, in my baskets, but I do think that the baskets are what is like creating a space for these carpet beetles, because I keep a lot of baskets like just sitting on the carpet. So I am in the process of kind of like moving those up to shelves, but I don't have enough shelf space for all of those. So anyways, long story short, I'm working on the problem, but in the meantime, I still had a hole in this blanket. So I figured out how to mend it, just found some similar yarn. It's a scrappy blanket, so it doesn't really matter. And, you know, when you're all cuddled up in there, you really don't notice it. It's not the best mending job, but I did secure all the stitches, take care of the hole. So that was project number 1 that I finished. Now these other ones, I don't know in which order I finished them. So I'm just gonna go through them. All right. So next one is this guy here. It is a classic cuffed beanie by Purl Soho. This I started as a knit along with a young gal that I was teaching how to knit, and so I just wanted to work this hat with her. And I don't know, when I started this, when I left it off and just abandoned it, it was like right here. So really, there's no excuse. That's just silly. So that is project number 2. All done. All right, another one. Now my husband has worn these a couple times, but this was number 3. And these guys here, I think I just had like on the second sock, I had like this much left, or maybe even just the toe when I abandoned these. And I think I started these probably before Vlogmas, and then once Vlogmas started and all my Advent started, I just kind of abandoned them. But it's just a vanilla sock pattern. The yarn on this is, the main color is Naughty Pine. The gray is just something that I had in my stash. I'm not even sure what it is. But it definitely, in different lights, it's more like a bluish gray. But my husband is extremely knit worthy, and I really want to knit him some more socks because he's that knit worthy. He wears them a ton. So I did a 1x1 twisted cuff rib, just added in some stripes with some scrappy yarn. I do reinforce the very end of the toe, and I reinforce the heel with a reinforcement thread as I'm knitting. You just hold that double with it. But he's just that way they last a little bit longer and he doesn't have to worry about ruining them. And then I should tell you too, on this guy here, this was a inexpensive Yarn Bee, I think Soft and Sleek from Hobby Lobby yarn. And I do not remember the colorway, but it was just something inexpensive for my friend to learn how to knit with. So, okay. Now this project here this was one that I had to add and finish these up really quick. So I had 50 grams of this yarn. It is a Freckled Whimsy yarn. It's in their Happy Birthday colorway. And the idea was that I would cast these on November 1st with my friend Annie from Knits and Burls. And her birthday is Christmas, my birthday is around Thanksgiving, and so we were gonna like knit these in November so that we would both kind of have them for our birthdays. She didn't start hers. I kind of started mine and then quickly abandoned them as other projects took precedence. So we took a trip up north and I brought these with me. I had on these cute little rain boots because the idea was to make these a little bit longer initially, but I had these cute little cuffed rain boots and I was like, man, I really need a pair of socks to go with these cute little rain boots that don't go all the way up, but that just like peek out of the top right there. So yeah, that's what I did. Which then also made this project go so much faster for me. But I almost finished them while I was up north, and we went to Washington and Canada. I have family that lives up there, and so I just wasn't able to finish the toe of the sock, but everything else was finished. So that was really fun. Super exciting to do that. Okay, so that's project number 4. Whew, project number 5. This little guy here, he's supposed to be a bunny. This is a cotton yarn that I got at Hobby Lobby. It's like, I think it's like cotilin, so it's like cotton and linen. While I think he's cute, he definitely doesn't look like a bunny. He looks like an anteater, and I'm sure that was my mistakes. And what I have learned is that I like doing the amigurumi stitches. I really don't like putting things together, but I just powered through it, got it done, and I can't see myself really making any more of these little guys. Now, not to say that I won't do any more amigurumi, because that's a really fun outlet. That is so fun. So, but I just won't be doing any more bunnies and that kind of thing. It just really wasn't that enjoyable. I dislike the finishing part of it so much that I probably wouldn't do more. All right, so that's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that was number 5. I think I just need to talk about the elephant in the room here for a minute. What I'm wearing. Okay, let me get up. I'm not sure what this is gonna look like on the screen, but hopefully you can see. This is my raglan top-down sweater. It is the painting sweater by Katrin Scheider. And this was a project, you guys. I've had this on my needles for a very long time. This was the first time that I realized that we had carpet beetles was this sweater. This sweater, it was 3 skeins. 1 skein was completely untouched. And then the other 2 skeins were eaten through like crazy. And I love this yarn. I love this sweater. I'm like, I'm gonna power through this. I can do this. I'm just gonna have a lot of ends to weave in. No big deal. It was a big deal. I'm not disappointed that I finished it because I love this shirt. I love it. But as I started working through the yarn, there were so many breaks in the yarn. I just had a pile of pieces that I would like pull out that were just a couple yards long maybe, and that's too many ends, right? Like if I can't get through an entire row without having to weave in an end, that's too much. So I tossed a lot of it, but I was determined to finish this project. A lot of people said like, well, just frog it, make something else. If I had done that, I would have just tossed all the yarn. I would not have it in me to start another project, probably not even a pair of socks. I just couldn't. And I didn't want to waste the yarn. I do love this yarn. I love this project. So I completely powered through, you guys, and I got it done. I redid the bottom hem 3 times. 3 times. I just didn't, twice okay, the first time that I did it, I didn't like how I did the combination ribbing on it. I was trying and I just didn't like it. The second time I liked what I was doing, but I realized maybe an inch in that I didn't go down in needle size. I thought I did, but I grabbed the same size needles and didn't go down. And so it was just kind of still looking a little bit frumpy, I guess, like it's just a little bit too big. So I had to take it out again. And the third time was a charm. Went down the needle size. I did just the ribbing that it called for in the pattern and just done. But so I was thinking like I did the sleeves before I did the hem. And I did that because I wanted to use as much yarn as I could. I knew I was going to be short, but I didn't, so I knew I wouldn't be able to do sleeves, but I didn't know how cropped it would be. So I wanted to just get as much yarn, as much yardage out of this as possible, and as much length out of this as possible. So I did an I-cord sleeve bind off, or I-cord bind off for the sleeve. Okay. I did not really know how the sleeves are going to turn out. I do love them. Totally. It turned out exactly perfect, exactly how I would have wanted it. But my thought process with it was, if I just knit down 1.5 inches and then cut it off, is it going to sit like this, like where there's just not enough fall down over the shoulder? And then as I just got to thinking about it and looking at the sweater and reading some other patterns that had short sleeves, I realized that like all of that extra shaping is kind of done like in the raglan itself. So that part was already done and it did work, at least for this pattern, just to cut the sleeves off. Like I think I did 1.5 inches, 2 inches from where I cast the sleeves back on, like picked up those stitches. Totally worked. I didn't even decrease any stitches or anything because I don't like things tight around my bicep. So not that my biceps are big, but I just don't like it tight. So yeah, I just did the I-cord bind off. And then I just went as long as I could. I got a 2-inch cuff done, or hem done. I can try to put in some footage here too, of me standing up a little bit better. I'll have my son film after this and I'll stick it in there just so you can see how the fit is. But I like the positive ease that this sweater has. I think I did a 36-inch. That's typically what I do for a sweater, is a 36-inch. But this project took every single bit of willpower that I had to finish it. Super glad that I did. But there you have it. And the ends that I had to weave in took forever. Took forever. but we got it done. Okay. Another, like these last two projects. Oh, hold on. Before I get to these last two projects, I'm going to mention another project that I got off the needles that I don't have because I frogged it. It was the ossify mitts, and I did one, which I'm super glad that I did. It was a great process, great learning for me, but they came down to here, and the picture said that like it should come down to here. So it was my fault. It was my yarn issues, and I didn't do a swatch beforehand, but I'm still counting that as finished and done off the needles because it's out of my brain space. I will choose to do another project with that yarn, and I may even try the mittens in the suggested yarn that it's a stone wool pattern. So I might even try that. I'm not too sure, but that one is off the needles. All right, couple more projects. Here's another. So this is one that actually I didn't pull out. It was not part of the original 11. So this one was added along with those socks. Those socks were added. So this is a tank. It is a vintage kit. I got it off of eBay. It came with 3 patterns in it. And these patterns were like this little. So literally every time I thought about this pattern, I'm like, you know what? Like, it was so cheap. It's old. It's just cotton yarn. Like, I'm just going to toss it. The last time that I had that thought process, I took it out of the bag, went to the garbage to put it in, and could not do it. Because ultimately in my mind, I was thinking, I would wear this. I would wear this. If I could finish it, I would wear it. But my holdup, I had a couple holdups for this. So do you guys see this little pleat here? Somehow when I knit this, the front shoulder strap up here was quite a bit wider than the back. And I don't know why that is. I have no idea. I must have missed some decreases, something. I have no idea. I'm like, oh, okay, how do I fix that? Well, I put this little pleat in and it kind of just looks like it's supposed to be there. So fix that. Okay, well then I knit this in pieces and then you seam up the sides. Well, this yarn, if you can tell, it varies in thickness. It is, you know, it's kind of supposed to give like this hand spun look, but it is definitely like machine manufactured to be that way because it's like, it was very distinct. When you looked at the yarn, it was very distinct, like thin, 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 thick, thin, 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 you know, so it was very uniform in its thickness, but it gave the look of like hand spun. And ultimately, like, it really did knit up super nice. I love it. But with that, the issue is that this pattern didn't really give like row counts. And so I didn't know if I had the same amount of rows on the front and the back, and to mattress stitch that, I could have ended up with this much more space on one of the pieces. Like, then what do you do with that, right? So my last ditch effort, and really I was at the point where I'm like, hey, if it just doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'm just done. And sometimes that's at the point that you, like, that's the point that you need to be at to just power through and get things done. I got my sewing machine out, you guys, and I sewed up the seams. My thought process on this was, I'm gonna turn you guys a little bit this way because I can see the sun coming in, but anyways. Okay, so my thought process on this. I just recently saw somebody taking apart a sweater from a thrift store. It's like an all wool sweater from a thrift store. And like they were reusing that yarn for another project. So I start looking at thrift stores for, you know, 100% wool sweaters. Couldn't find any. But one of the things that she recommended was that the seams be sewn up. And this is what they look like, right? inside. So that's where my brain was at constantly with this. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. I am just going to do it. So I literally got my machine out, put the right sides together, just made sure that like the top and the bottom matched up and kind of just held it and sewed. I did that for the tops too with the pleats. I'll put a picture or a video in on how it fits because it is amazing, you guys. Would I do that with every project? Absolutely not. But this one, the perfect solution. So hopefully that encourages you guys to like think outside the box and just get something, you know, like sometimes you just have to experiment to get things done. So I love this sweater though. I cannot wait for summertime to wear this sweater. Cannot wait. Okay, the last whip that I've finished. This is my own design. This was my advent. And this is it. So it has some short row shaping down here at the bottom, but it is meant to go around like this. So it'll sit probably on the back of my knitting chair. I'll probably swap this blanket out and put this one here so that in the mornings, like, and I even used it this morning, it was the perfect thing to keep my shoulders warm. Just love it. I love it. The yarn is so soft. This is the Naughty Pine Advent calendar. I love it. I love that I finished it. I did an I-cord cast on, I-cord bind off, a slip stitch edge with, and I had some short rows in there. So I think like I could make it shorter. Like it doesn't have to quite be this long, but I do like that it like fully just like wraps around. It's like a little hug, but totally love this, you guys. Super fun. Okay, the whips that I still have to do. Let's see. What's in this one? Ooh, this is the Idun tank. That's what it looks like. So I definitely don't have enough of this top yarn to finish, and that's okay. So it's just gonna be this two-toned sweater or tank top. So I've started this other color. This is like all that I've really added on since I've started this. So that's there. I'm gonna keep working on it. I kind of need to take a little break from all the whips, but I don't know, like I do want to work on it, but I think that I'm going to maybe just commit to like 30 minutes a day and get a few rows done on this, and then just, it is what it is. But I do enjoy working on it. I did a fit check. It fits great. It seems so little, but the ribbing, it's like a 4x4 ribbing. It's amazing. It fits great. So it's supposed to be like a fitted tank. It'll be great this summer. And I do think I have a few months to work on it. So I think if I just like committed 30 minutes a day to finishing, I think that'll be great. All right, I just had to close that window because the sun just kept coming in and wasn't quite sure if what it was doing for you guys. So, all right, so that's one whip that I still have on my needles. Another. This is a moss stitch or seed stitch shawl. It is a crochet project, and it's a scrappy crochet project. So the beauty of this is I really could be done at any time with this. But I think I do just want it maybe another 2 inches long or so. And so what I'm doing is I'm just doing a moss stitch, which is really just like a single crochet chain one, single crochet chain one, right? But it gives this beautiful textured pattern. So what I'm doing is either 2 or 3 rows of a color before I switch. And I've done that even at the beginning, Because, you know, a lot of the times, like when you are doing a scrappy project and you're doing this little bit here at the beginning, you will like have this huge section, right, of the same color, which is great. Don't get me wrong. And I did one like that. I actually gifted it to a young lady who every time I was crocheting on this, she would like come and snuggle up on me and she's like, oh, it's so pretty. And she would like just take it and like just run her fingers through it. She just loved it. And she crochets a bit too. I think she was 8 at the time. But I cut that one a little bit short, like kid size, and gave that one to her. Not actually cut, but just didn't keep knitting on it. And then I started another one for myself and I thought like, I kind of like the idea of just doing 2, 2, 2 all the way through. So there's scraps and whatnot, but I'm just maybe about 9 grams per 2 stripes right now. So like the row 1 minis are great for this project right now. And like they would have been great even at the beginning of the project as well, because you could just repeat, like, you know, you could do a few rows here and then maybe repeat it a little bit later. So this, yeah, about 1.5 to 2 inches more. There's so many stitches for each row. So each row takes me, I feel like, just forever, but that is another whip. Not sad that I didn't finish this one. I'm a little disappointed. Well, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the whole tank thing. I guess I really would have liked to have gotten it done because it is kind of one of those things that just really sits in my brain and takes up a lot of space that it's not done. But this does not take up that space. It's just kind of like, well, it's a scrappy project. We're good. Okay. That's number 2. Let's see. I'm looking at my notes here. The third one I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to show it because I have 0 progress on it. And that is the Starfall Pullover by Jennifer Steingas. And that one, it's a color work sweater. It's the one that I started like November 1st. It's fine. Not a big deal that it's not done. Okay, so then this one here, I actually cast on in, I want to say in March. And this was a knit along. It was supposed to be 12 skeins. So like I signed up late, but then got the back, like the January and February skeins of it and everything. So 12 skeins of yarn, you get 1 a month. And I actually decided in June to not get any more. And so I have half of it. So the idea of this pattern, it is called the Strata Blanket. Let me see if I can find a picture without giving away the, yeah, here's one. Okay. So there it is. So the idea is that you do these triangles and then you do 4 triangles, 1 every 3 months, and then you seam them together. So I have 2, so I can do like a large triangle. So instead of having a square at the end, I'll have a large triangle with these 2 sections together. So this is not blocked, but here is the first one. And then I am so close to finishing the second one. I think I have 17 rows left, I think is what I have left. And I know that because the way the pattern is written out, it's very clear what row, you know, so, but okay. This is another one that has been carpet beetle infested and I'm just kind of over it. So I'm like literally just powering through. Yeah, so this is the pointy triangle side over here. This will go against one of these sides here. I don't know. I know it's hard to tell, but I'll post it when it's done. But anyway, so instead of having a square blanket, I will have a triangular shawl when I am done. And honestly, like there are a lot of ends to weave in on this one because if it's super split, it's DK worsted weight yarn. So if it's super split, I chop it and you know, get to a safe place and then start again. But there are some places where like just one, this yarn is, I don't even know. Oh, here. So it's like very stringy yarn. It's superwash. I don't know exactly, but it's very stringy, which is fine. It is fun to work with, and it's very soft. But like on some of these places, just like one or two of these little strings have been eaten through, cut, I don't know. And so if there's still like a good amount of width there of the yarn, I'm just going. I'm at the point where I just don't care. Like, it's just gonna be something that I wrap around. It's not show worthy, but it's getting done. I can use it. It'll be off my needles, but it's just not fun. I'm done with all the ends and all of that kind of stuff. So there you have it. Okay. Another project that I very just recently found. Are a couple pair of journey socks. And I'm just still counting this as one project because I was kind of trying to figure out like my sizing and all of these things. I like the journey sock pattern. I think it's really fun. I'm hoping that it stays up on my feet like so many other people say, but look at the difference. So this one fits my foot because it does stretch quite a bit. And I think you kind of want these more on the snug side is kind of what I'm guessing. I don't know. But this one here, I was actually going to send to my friend Annie because I think it will fit her. And then we'll just have coincidentally matching socks. But I mean, I have two done. Does that count as a finished object? Probably not. But I do have plenty of yarn, and this is actually yarn that I got from Annie. I think I bought it in one of her de-stashes. So I know she was doing a big de-stash. So you may want to check that out too on her Instagram. But anyways, so these are the Journey socks from Heidi and Lana. I know it won't take very long to do, but I'm kind of at the point with these where I really don't know where I left off or like how I modified what I did. And I'm hoping that it will be obvious once I look at my notes, but I just recently found that one. So I think this will just be like these two here will just have to be like 30 minutes of knitting every day, I think, to get this done. My Strata Blanket, I am powering through that one, and hopefully I will have that one done super soon. Okay, on to exciting new things, you guys. Oh my goodness. And when I say things, I mean things. My girlfriend got me this basket for my birthday. It's not so cute. It's a little Ray Dunn basket. But I do like this because with the liner, I'm putting this up on a shelf and I'm hoping that it'll keep little critters out. We'll see. It could also, I guess, be a place for them to fester. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyways, so, okay, Friday, this coming Friday, I am casting on with my knit group a new shawl. It is the A Study in Texture shawl by the Knitting Primate. Okay, so there's 4 of us in my knitting group. One of the ladies came in, her name is Tanae, and she was wearing this shawl. It was beautiful, you guys. It has a cabled edge, like edging on it. It's like a cable, like it's beautiful, you guys. Like so much texture. I just think that it will really help to like keep interest a lot. I I don't know if this is loud or not, but there you go. Okay. So lots of interest. My stepmom, who's a fairly new knitter, she's done a couple socks and different things, and she just did her first Advent blanket. It turned out beautifully. She did the Cozy Comfort Throw by a Homespun House. And so anyway, so she really wanted, my stepmom wanted to do this shawl. And of course I want to as well, but like I do have other projects that I want to cast on to. But I just thought it would be so fun to all do this project together. We can help each other, different colors, all this kind of stuff, right? So I really wanted to use stash yarn because, again, going back to what I said at the beginning of this podcast, that like having too much stash does kind of stress me out as well. So I have this yarn from Emma's Yarn. It's called Wish You Were Beer. It's something that I got at Stitches West quite a while ago. And from what I can tell, there are no breaks. It is not infested. It should be great. I really hope. Really, really hope. Okay, so, but I have three. I only have 3 of these, and I think I'll need 4. So what I'm going to do is I got this at the same time. This is called Nailed It. I got this at the same time. It has a lot of flecks of this like barley color here. So I'm going to do a large stripe near the, like maybe 3 inches from the edge. Do a large stripe of this one here. So this will be the shawl. I wanted a color like this, and I was gonna look when I went to Stitches West that is coming up. It's coming to town the beginning of March, so just around the corner. But then I thought about it. I'm like, nope, I should use stash yarn. So this is what it's gonna be made out of. And then the other thing that I am really excited about is that, so I got this 6-pack set. It's 50 gram mini, or 50 gram skeins of yarn. It's a sock pack from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And I just thought that these were phenomenal colors for socks for my husband. So I think I'm going to choose one of these. I don't know which one yet. Maybe this guy here, because it's so similar to, I mean, it's definitely not the same, but it's very similar to. But I'm gonna choose one of these for like cuffs and toes and all of that, or maybe I'll kind of do a mishmash of them, I don't know. But I'm going to make kind of like a set of socks for my husband, for his socks, because he is so sock worthy, so worthy of socks. And I think that he will like the majority of these colors. And it'll just be a good, like, he doesn't have, I've never made him any navy ones. He really doesn't have light, super light ones like this. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna cast on some socks for him. But that is right now what I have going on, and I'm probably gonna cast this stuff on this week. The other thing is I have a couple sweaters that I am so antsy to cast on. I have all the yarn for. But before I do that, I do want to finish my Starfall sweater because I don't want to get in the same place that I was before. Again, the Starfall sweater is something that I am really enjoying working on. It doesn't feel like it's this old whip of a project either. So that's, you guys, where I'm at with all of my whips. I want to tell you guys thank you so much for your encouragement with all of my whips. Like, there were so many times when I just wanted to scrap the idea, but I felt like I had this obligation to you guys to stick with it. So thank you for that. That it was a good type of obligation. Your comments, you guys, so kind. And like just the encouragement that you guys gave really honestly kept me going. And there were a lot of you guys too who messaged me or tagged me on Instagram, and you know, you said like, I'm working down my whips too, like this is where I'm at. And like, just, you guys said thank you for the encouragement and all of these things. And so I love that. Love that. So I'm very grateful for the community that I have here in my little space on the internet. Thank you guys so much. So with that being said, before I end, I want to challenge you guys. I just signed up for this amazing organization. Like, and you see me smiling about it because like, I'm just so excited about it. I am so excited about it. It's called the Loose Ends Project. So it is a group of crafters, makers, quilters, crocheters, knitters, weavers, and they have collaborated this project to finish projects from people who have passed away. So I believe how it works is their loved ones submit these projects, and maybe their loved ones don't do these same crafts, knitting, crocheting, weaving, quilting, all of these things, right? And so they dole out these projects that need finishing, and then we give them back to the families so that they have this final project that their loved ones were working on. And I joined their Facebook group because I did sign up. Super easy process to sign up. And I think from what I can tell in filling out this Google form and everything is that they want to give you projects that you want to work on. It's like they even ask, you know, are you comfortable if this project comes from a smoker? And you know, like it didn't feel like there was any judgment one way or the other. It was just simply like a, hey, is this okay? Like my favorite question was like, what is one thing that you never want to do again? Like as far as crafting goes, you know? So again, they want to find a project that matches for you. So I'm on this Facebook page now and just seeing all these projects that are being finished, and these crafters who are, they put like this little heart or some indication of their loved one's last stitch. Is that not amazing? Like that just makes me want to cry, you guys. Like, I have a feeling that when I get my first project, I think it's going to be very emotional. I think I'm going to be just in constant prayer for this family as I finish this project for this family. And but hopefully like it will help them with their grieving process. And what an amazing gift to give to a family of a loved one who's passed away. So I challenge you guys, maybe you have some extra knitting, crochet, crafting time to give to this project. Challenge you guys to sign up, and I want to hear about it if you do. Like definitely tag me, like let's share, this is such an amazing thing. I'm so anxious to get my first project. I just signed up over the weekend and it's Monday. So I'm not, like, I don't know how long it will take. I don't know if they just have a ton of projects already, if they wait for, like if they have more projects than people, or if they have more people than projects, I'm not sure. But I just thought that it was perfect in my, like in this season of finishing whips, to give the gift of finishing somebody else's whips. So totally challenge you guys with that. I just think it would be so fun. But anyways, that's where we're at. Got a couple more projects that I'm going to knock out. Got some that I'm going to cast on. I'm excited to get some knitting done on my scrappy projects as well. Now that a lot of my needles are free, I feel like I just have more freedom to do that. And just because I'm done doesn't mean that you guys have to be done. Like keep at those whips. If that is where, like, if that's what brings you a little bit of peace, keep going, you guys. All right, until next time, thank you guys so much for hanging in there with me during this adventure. And this, I feel like this is going to be an extra long podcast. So thanks for joining in with me and coming on my adventure with me, you guys. Until next time, bye-bye.